this morning is from Isaiah chapter 54, verses 9 through 10. And now, as I was in the days of Noah, when I swore that Noah's waters should never flood the earth again. So now I swear not to be angry with you, or to make threats against you, for the mountains may disappear and the hills may depart. But my love will never leave you, nor my covenant of peace be shaken, says Yahweh, who has mercy on you. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God.
If you would please pray with me. God of grace and mercy, may the words of my mouth and the meditations of all of our hearts be acceptable to you this day, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. So I've had some time to think and prepare for Advent, and I have to tell you that my heart is heavy. When I think about Advent, the season of Advent, this just amazing idea that God decided, for whatever reason, to show up and walk among us. If that doesn't get you going, I'm afraid that we're never going to get going. I was thinking about this word peace and how we struggle so to find peace in our country, in our world. I remember back in the early 90s when they were developing these neighborhoods, these exclusive neighborhoods. And if you wanted to move into this neighborhood, then you had to sign this covenant in order to live in one of these really nice homes in these gated communities, right? And the covenants told you what you could and could not do with your home. You can't plant flowers in a certain place, you can't plant trees in a certain place, you have to put your garbage in a certain kind of can, and you have to put your recyclables in a certain kind of bin, and on and on and on it went. And I think, I may be wrong, but the whole point of these covenants was so that you would keep peace with your neighbor. But did it work? Rarely. I mean, I heard stories about friends of mine who lived in these gated communities, and their neighbors never followed the covenants. And they were always complaining to the homeowners association. And they would have these homeowner association meetings. And there would just be complaint after complaint. Well, he didn't mow his grass the right way. Or he planted this tree on my property line. I mean, on and on and on and on. And I don't know why that came to me this week, but I kept thinking, if we can't even get along within a neighborhood, how are we supposed to get along as a nation? And then it occurred to me, what we're looking for is we want everybody to be just like us. We want people to think like us, to dress like us, to act like us, to be us. Because if they were us, then we would get along. They would know what I want before I even ask. Am I right? This is yes. This is no. All right? So when we talk about covenants of peace, I keep, going back to the scripture and others, especially in the Hebrew text. And I'm thinking, God, what were you thinking? We're doing this study in covenant. And I'm really excited because I want the folks that are coming to this Bible study to really understand that God's covenant had very little to do with the people. It had more to do with God. God instituted the covenant. God carried out the covenant. We just get in the way. Every time that God instituted a covenant, whether it was a covenant of peace, or a covenant against ever slaughtering us all through the flood, or whether it was a covenant of brotherhood, or whether it was the covenant that God instituted with Abraham. It was God doing the instituting. And what I think is missing for me this Advent season is the recognition that God made the choice. God made the decision to come to us because we struggled to find God. No matter what we did, we couldn't seem to locate God. Not that people didn't search. But what happened, and we know the story, it's all too familiar, especially with the Hebrew people, and with us, if we're honest. Yes, I love you, God, I love you, God, I love you, God, and then we worship other things. And then our relationship with God is just kind of in tatters, and then some stuff happens, and we're like, I love you, God, I love you, God, I love you, God, and then, life is really good for a while, and then we start worshiping other things. And then stuff happens, and our life is in tatters again, and then we're right back in that same place going, what am I going to do? Oh yeah, God, there you are. I love you, God, I love you, God. You know this. We do this over and over and over again, and God's covenant of peace says, it's okay, keep coming back. I made this covenant of peace. I'm not going to be angry with you anymore. There are no more threats against you. I'm not out to get you. I'm just waiting patiently for you to get it. The Hebrew people had the same problem. We have this problem. I think we miss just how important it is that God decided to show up in human form. And what does this even mean when we talk about the advent of Christ? If you're like me, you need a tangible example of how you're supposed to live. I know I do. I want the rules. I want to see it in black and white. Do this, this, and this. And if you do these three things, then most likely you'll be okay. I think that's one of the reasons why I love Alcoholics Anonymous. It's pretty simple. Trust God, clean house, and serve others. That's pretty simple, isn't it? Trust God, clean house, serve others. So if I'm trusting God for everything, and I'm doing the work, the internal work, cleaning up my own side of the sidewalk, not pointing fingers at you, but looking at me, and then I serve other people, it's really difficult for me to get in trouble with that system. But too often we try to clean house before we trust God. And we try to serve others before we clean house. And then it doesn't work so good. They're in a specific order for a reason. I think the biblical text tells us the same thing, and Jesus is telling us the same thing. You need to love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your mind, with all your soul, with all your strength. And then you need to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And how are you able to do that? Getting right with God. And what does getting right with God look like? That internal introspection, that moment where we go deep and we see all the things that we need to fix internally. Covenant. If I really want peace with my neighbor, if I really want to live from a place of peace, I have to first offer it. Unconditionally, no strings attached. I have to mean it. I have to want peace more than I want war. I have to want peace more than I want an argument or to be right. I have to want peace more than anything else. And that includes being able to say, I don't have all the answers. You know, God made a promise never to flood the earth again in the way that He did in the story of Noah. But I don't believe for 1 second that God doesn't use whatever tools He has at His disposal to get our attention. Whether it be the person sitting in front of me or something that's happening on the news, God has ways of getting my attention, of waking me up. The season of Advent is one of those times when I need to be even more alert. That anticipation of something great just on the horizon. Now, I think we even perhaps struggle with relating to the season of Advent, that moment of anticipation, because we've become such an instant gratification kind of world. I don't want to wait for Jesus to get here. I want Jesus now. There's so many things that are happening around our nation right now, things that are not particularly peaceful. And I have to admit that my heart is heavy with the things that are happening at Standing Rock, things that are happening on the West Coast and the South. You hear it, you watch the news, you hear it. And in the midst of all of that, somehow I have to figure out how to still be in a relationship. I have to understand what peace looks like in the midst of that kind of strife. What does it mean for me to honor a covenant of peace with my neighbor when I think 180 degrees in the opposite direction of my neighbor? Where is the middle ground? And the middle ground for me is Christ. That's what I have to hold on to. I have to hold on to the promise of God that God is doing something that I cannot do. That God is making something happen that I cannot see. That God is doing for us what we cannot do for ourselves. As much as I would like to bring about peace on earth, and as much as I pray for peace on earth, I, one single person, do not have the power to effect that kind of change. Not on the entire planet. But I do have the power to effect peace with one other person. And if I can do that, I feel like I've accomplished something. And think about that. What would happen if we were able to just say to someone who really thinks differently than we do, in spite of our differences, I still love you. In spite of our differences, I still love you. It doesn't matter how much money you make, where you live, what kind of job you have. It doesn't matter who you're married to, where you come from, what their ethnicity is. In the end, none of those things matter. What matters is how well do we take care of one another? How well did we love one another? How well did we live out the covenant that God instituted? I'm grateful that God is the primary leader, because I really know just how difficult it is for us to engage in covenant, to live that binding agreement, to be in relationship with one another in such a way that it feels loving and caring. It's not easy. I've been working with a family who is just, completely ripped and torn apart for a variety of reasons. And as the conversations have continued, I realized that what was driving so much of this angst was ancient history. Something happened 22 years ago. 22 years ago that caused the initial division. And because it wasn't dealt with, here they are now, 22 years later, unable to hardly sit in the same room with one another. And as we worked through some of these things, they began to discover that they're really not so different. In fact, they felt pretty much the same. They had a lot in common that they didn't even know they had in common, because they weren't able to communicate for the last 22 years about anything meaningful. And it never occurred to either one of them to say, "I'm sorry." Covenant of peace. I think sometimes we have to make a list, an actual tangible list of what we are willing to do in order to reconcile with one another. Am I willing to own my part in a given situation? Am I willing to look at my own stuff enough so that I can say, "I'm sorry," and actually mean it? And Christ came because he wanted to show us a different way to live. And I think during the season of Advent, the biggest questions that come to me are, am I willing to do it? Am I willing to follow the lead of Jesus? Am I willing to live like Jesus? Or am I just a big fan of Jesus? Really, do I really want to be a follower, or do I just want to be his cheerleader? Because there's a difference. And I think in order to live out a covenant of peace, in order to be in that moment of reconciliation, I have to be willing to follow the teachings of Christ. I have to be willing to give myself over completely to that. And it is my personal belief that that doesn't happen outside of the community. You are my mirror. When I look in your eyes, I see my own reflection. It's because of you that we are able, as a collective, to see where we fall short, to see what we need to work on. You remind me, you hold up to me the work that's left to be done. That's how community works. think of all the ministers that I know, I probably landed in the best congregation ever. This is our second Advent season together. And the longer I'm here, the more I realize that we as a congregation have an opportunity to shape an entire city. The compassion and the love and the kindness that you show one another inside these walls, it's the same kindness, love, and compassion that you can show people outside these walls. The covenant of peace. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for your courage and your willingness to receive this covenant. To walk with Christ one day at a time. May it be so. Amen.